You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hailing from the Garrettscape, welcome one and all to Masters of the Media. In a land of pop culture podcasts, I, filmmaker Garrett Briones, and my quote-unquote co-host Jack Watson look at the why of the stories we love and figure out why they connect with us. The show is all about loving the media you love and appreciating the underappreciated. It's a celebration of storytelling and also two pals making each other laugh at random impressions and the silliest things you can imagine. You can find Masters in the Media on all your favorite podcatchers and right here on the Geekscape Network. We hope to see you all on the Garrettscape.
Cash, cold, that's what I need.
We would do lots of cool things if we were rich. One of those things would be to give the whole world a free subscription to the One Hit Thunder Patreon. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that yet, but we did let our Patreon supporters vote on which song they wanted to hear us discuss. They chose Calloway's I Wanna Be Rich, which somehow producer Matt Kelly had never heard before. We discuss it all this episode, including what rock Baby Matt was living under to not know this joyous 1989 hit. Stay tuned for a little love, peace, and happiness.
No time to be fooling around. Feet hit the floor, then I get on down. You see, I want money, lots and lots of money. I want the pie in the sky.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
Matt, do you want to be rich?
Obviously, Chris, who wouldn't want to be rich?
I think it's funny how there are different definitions of rich. For example, for me, being rich would be having no credit card debt, being able to go out and eat at a restaurant anytime I want to without stressing about it, and, not stressing about my bills. I would feel like I was rich.
I got to experience what felt like being rich when I was at my last job, and now I'm experiencing what it's like to not be rich now that I don't have that job, because I had a solid 5 years where I didn't have to check my bank account every time I wanted to make any type of purchase, and now that is no longer the case. If I'm about to go grocery shopping for food that I definitely need to survive, I still have to log on to my banking app and just see, like, where am I at right now?
Right. I mean, yeah, groceries, it sucks to go. I mean, every time I go grocery shopping, it's about $180 or $200.
Jesus. Well, you do have pets, which I don't have, and pets can become expensive on food costs, but I spend $100 a month.
Wow. Okay. Well, I try to get like 3 weeks of groceries at the time. And yes, I do have pets, and probably $50 of that is pet food.
Right there. Yeah.
And yeah, but I know that it's going to save me because you can easily spend $20 or $30 if you're eating out somewhere. And I rarely do that, but I have some things written down that if I were rich, I would do, that probably a lot of people listening to this are like, what? You can't do those things? I'm like, well, not yet, but I hope to one day. One of those, Matt, would be to always pick up the check when you go out to eat with friends and family. Wouldn't that be nice?
Again, previous job, I was able to treat my family to dinner at least once every vacation that we went on for those 7 years. And it was cool. It was cool to be like, I got this one, parents. I'm okay.
Right. Next on my list is I would get at least 3 or 4 different pairs of Nike Air Maxes, which are the only kinds of shoes I wear. I would like to have like 3 or 4 different pairs and decide which pair I'm going to wear each day. I think that would be neat. I'd also like to get an expensive pair of sweatpants that are advertised to me on Instagram. For some reason, all these sweatpants ads are targeted towards me on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm always like, damn, those are nice. And then I click on it, it's like, those are $118 for some reason. But if I was rich, I would buy exactly 1 pair of them. Also, I would say no to things I don't want to do. I would be like, no, I don't want to do that piece of work that someone's going to pay me to do because I don't want to do it, because I have enough money that I don't have to do it. Also, I would hire a cleaning person to come to my house once a week and do some cleaning because A, it's hard to keep up with cleaning, and B, you are then in turn giving someone else money. You're helping someone else out. It's not like I think I should have like a butler or something, but I think having a cleaning person would be nice, don't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it also comes down to the simple fact that like cleaning is a thing. Like I don't mind cleaning. I kind of enjoy cleaning to a certain extent, but like my version of cleaning isn't what cleaning is supposed to be. Like my mom had like cleaning days where it was like, oh, it's Sunday. I'm going to clean this house from ceiling to basement and make sure that like the floors are mopped and spotless and like all that good jazz. For me, cleaning is like I walk into the bathroom and say, "Oh, this could probably use a quick wipe down," and like grab the all-purpose spray and just like make the bathroom look nice.
Right.
Because to do what my mom does, you and I are still at a point where every hour that we're not doing the work that we're getting paid for is an hour that we're not making money. So, so it's like to give the house the cleaning that I'd like to give the house, I'd have to be like, I'm okay with not doing anything that's going to make sure that I pay my bills this week.
Right. As you've already brought up, Matt, I do have 2 cats and a dog, and trying to keep up with cleaning, it's hard.
Yeah.
And my last thing on my list of things I would do if I was rich, which I think my list of things to do if I were rich are very
manageable so far.
Yeah, very manageable. These are things that you could do if you're completely at middle class and not living in poverty. But my last thing was I would have a lot more cats. I would be like a very Freddie Mercury type where my cats would have their own rooms. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I would take care of a lot of cats if all I had to do in life was take care of cats. So that's where I'm at. I don't need a yacht. I don't need a private jet. I don't need elaborate vacations. I just basically want an expensive pair of sweatpants, a couple pairs of shoes, and a couple more cats.
That's so mine. I don't consider myself someone who has many lavish dreams, but apparently my getting rich goals are still a little bit higher than even yours. Obviously, I need a new car. That would be pretty high on the getting it. I mean, that might have to happen before I'm rich at the pace that things are going with my current car. For whatever reason, I've always wanted a nice mountain house. Like, I just wanted a nice mountain house away from everybody where I could just, like, go away for a weekend or, like, bring a bunch of people up for, like, a weekend, like, party sesh or whatever. I would also want to pay one of my friends, doesn't matter who, but one of my friends in LA a set amount of money a month for them to just keep a guest room open for me for whenever I have to go to LA for anything.
Gotcha.
Those would be my biggest, my 3 biggest, like, I'm rich now flexes is mountain house, paying a couple $100s to a friend to keep a guest room open for me at their house, and buying a new car.
I'm going to add mountain house to mine too.
I think it's cool.
Idea.
And I think that's like, and here's the thing, I don't even need it to be my mountain house. Like, all things considered, Chris, if we really want it to, me, you, the rest of the guys in Punchline, and Jim could feasibly be like, hey, let's just all put like $200 aside to like have a mountain house that any of us could go to at any given point, and it'd actually be sustainable. But I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for having $200 that I have to spend every month. But like, I know plenty of people who've done that, where it's like them and like 3 other families all just buy a house together, that they're like, now we can just use this whenever we want to, and they just have like a little calendar where it's like, oh, it's my weekend to take the mountain house.
I want my own mountain house. You could split the mountain house with a bunch of people. I want my own mountain house, and it goes without saying that I would love to be able to donate money to people that need it and organizations that need it. I mean, I know you would be the same.
No, and we're talking about the luxurious aspects of being rich. Obviously, I have a set amount of money that I feel comfortable making, living a happy life, and if I can continue to go beyond that point, it's like, how much of this can I put to this? Or what we already kind of do with most of our stuff anyway is like, you know, we've done a couple live podcast things, and it's always been for charity. Like, whatever we can put the stupid skill sets that we've developed for ourselves to helping another good cause by doing it, like, absolutely. Hit us up. If you have a charity that's doing a live stream and you want a podcast on it to help raise money for some good cause, we'll probably do it if we're free.
And that brings us to today's song, I
Yes.
Want to Be Rich by Calloway. That long introduction.
Which, again, this is where, like, our age difference isn't that great, but it's great enough that there are songs that have never existed in my life until you've introduced them to me, and this was one of them. I did not know this song until this morning when I listened to it.
What?
Yeah. I was 4.5 when this song was at its peak.
Yeah, but I feel like 4.5-year-olds would love this song.
Yeah, but I was a 4.5-year-old who pretty much just listened to his parents' Meatloaf and Bruce Springsteen cassette tapes at that time. So
Okay.
I didn't discover new music existing until When I Come Around 4 years later. I don't think MTV was playing this on their like 90s throwback time in 1994, 1995. I feel like there was a very big cap on this song being kind of in the public eye.
Well, okay. Well, what's your impression of this song having just heard it today then?
First of all, very clear a Chris pick. Chris, you have always been way more into like the soul R&B side of things than I am, but it was a good ass song. I was like, this is a good jam. I was having a good time with it. I know why you like it. I enjoy it too. I don't know. So like you also introduced Candy Rain into my life on this show, and Candy Rain has stayed in rotation. Like that is like now on a lot of Spotify mixes. Not sure if I Want to Be Rich is going to have the same fate. And the only reason why is because like I heard that chorus to Candy Rain and I could not get that chorus out of my head. I genuinely am trying to remember what the chorus to I Want to Be Rich is, and I listened to it like 2 hours.
Be rich.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I'll listen to it a couple more times. We'll throw it back. I'll see how it survives in the Spotify playlists.
Matt, I would be willing to bet that a majority of the people listening to this think that you're the crazy one for not knowing this song.
Oh, it came in second place behind Sinead O'Connor. I know that I'm crazy for not knowing this song.
Have there ever been two songs more different next to each other at number 1 and number 2 than Calloway's I Want to Be Rich and Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You? I don't know if you could get two completely different songs.
So there's a lot of weird symmetry that's happening between this week and last week, I think, with this as well, because Calloway also kind of called it quits after their second album because the hits had kind of dried up. But the difference that I'm seeing when I was doing research with Calloway that I think is worth getting into is twofold. One, they immediately were like, all right, the solo career, like they're two brothers. They're like, hey, our career as like a brotherly duo seems to be running dry. Let's get back to doing the production work that we were already doing before we did this side project. And B, that they already were massively popular for a band that they had formed in the 80s. And this was kind of just like a weird side project for them.
They were?
So they had formed a synth funk band called Midnight Star, and they were like instrumental in this band for like a multi-platinum selling album called No Parking on the Dance Floor, which has kind of gone on to be considered like one of the most important albums in the realm of funk music. Like they were like really well-established musicians before they went solo with this kind of more R&B sound. And that was like them in college. They grew up in a fully musical family from the research that I did. Like they had an uncle who was a keyboard player. They had a dad who played guitar. I think it said that their mom was an opera singer. Like they grew up in a home filled with music. And I like to imagine, I think of my mom specifically, kind of grew up in a similar vibe. My mom's a singer. She's one of 6 kids. Every one of those kids is a musician. My grandfather was a musician. My grandmother sings. And like the stories that she would tell me was like, yeah, we would just like grab instruments and go into the basement where like my grandfather had built a little recording studio, and they would just like play. They would sit by the instruments that they felt the most comfortable being able to play, and they would just have like little family jam sessions and just do songs together. So I think that when you live in one of those families where everyone's kind of got that musical talent and it's like just part of your family day to day, it's not shocking that maybe music becomes like a direction that you decide to take your life when you get older.
Yeah. So Calloway, this was sort of just another little project for them. This wasn't necessarily it was cool that they got a hit from it, but it wasn't everything to them. That's a whole different thing than BB Mac, I think.
I think so too. And I think that they're writing about I Want to Be Rich, and I'm sure that there's not a ton of money in the production work that they were particularly doing, because it was very they were working on Natalie Cole records, which my mom had a Natalie Cole record because she loved Nat King Cole, but Natalie Cole wasn't exactly burning up the charts. So I don't think that they were, necessarily rich, but I think if the Calloway project didn't have a hit song, I think that these two brothers would have been perfectly fine still in their lives.
Yeah, okay. Well, also, from the lyrics of this song, it sounds like, who are the members? One is Reginald Calloway, and the other, and his brother's name is, I don't know. But they are an R&B duo from Cincinnati. Yes, they are the Calloway brothers. And it sounds like from the lyrics of this song, their definition of being rich is kind of similar to what we discussed at the beginning, because when you read these lyrics, it's like big bill collectors, they ring my phone, they bother me when I'm not at home, ain't got no time to be fooling around, feet hit the floor, then I get on down. They just want to pay their bills. They would feel rich if they paid their bills. You see, I want money, lots and lots of money. I want the pie in the sky. I want lots and lots of money, so don't be asking me why. I want to be rich for a little love, peace, and happiness. They also want love, peace, and happiness, Matt, just like we do.
Yeah.
They don't want yachts. What they want, as they discuss in the next verse, I want my cake, want to eat it too. I want the stars and the silver moon. Okay, that's going a little further. I spend my money on lottery. My favorite number is 1, 2, 3, which I could think of. 1, 2, 3 has just as good a chance of hitting as any other number.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
So yeah, it's the same odds.
Hello out there.
Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.
What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty, host of the Punk Rock NBA podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. My podcast is all about doing what you love for a living, and every week I sit down and talk to people who have done exactly that. For example, musicians like Tommy from Between the Buried and Me, Matt from Periphery, Lil Lotus and Shinigami, among many others, photographers, artists, designers, YouTubers like Glenn Fricker and Sarah Dici, and I unpack exactly how they got to where they are today with the goal of helping you do the same. So if that sounds cool, you can listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com, and I'll see you there.
And it's Vincent Calloway. Just wanted to let you know.
Oh,
Vincent.
Vincent and Reginald Calloway are the Calloway brothers.
What a regal name Reginald is.
Yeah. Vincent Calloway, Reginald Calloway. These are great names, especially for the world of funk. I can imagine. I haven't heard their successful funk group, but maybe I should have.
Yeah, I was kind of curious to check it out because I do enjoy some funk music. I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember the movie The New Guy?
Yes.
And his whole thing was that him and Zooey Deschanel, very young before she was famous, Zooey Deschanel had a funk band. They were a high school funk band. And I remember that being an early introduction to funk music into my life, that and PCU with some George Clinton performances. But I have never heard a funk song that I disliked. I don't seek it out often enough, but you play me a funk song, I'm probably going to be okay with it.
Yeah, I love funk. Get the funkier the better as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, especially you're a bass man, and there are a few genres that spend the real time to highlight a good ass bass line like funk music does.
Yeah. As you know, I am a bass man, and I do enjoy some funk. Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice. What was surprising to me is, okay, so the Calloway brothers, who were known primarily from the world of funk, and then, you know, we'll get deeper into the Calloway catalog in a minute here, but this song is just total bubblegum pop.
Yeah.
It's very much a pop song. And I don't know, maybe there's elements of funk here, I guess, and soul and R&B, but more than anything, this is a pop song.
I would say that the closest it comes to even being in that funk world is that, like, it's a pop song that I don't think is too many steps removed from like a New Jack Swing. I wouldn't classify this as New Jack Swing, but if you told me that they played with some New Jack Swing artists, I'd be like, yeah, I could see like the connectivity there. And I feel like New Jack Swing has a little bit of a funk influence into its style. I found the fact that they were part of apparently a very important funk band from the late 70s, early 80s to be quite shocking to me, actually.
I really like the meta aspect of this song, meaning that these guys wrote a song called I Want to Be Rich. And because of writing a song called I Want to Be Rich, I'd have to imagine that they got pretty rich, considering this song was a hit song. I think that's pretty cool. Like, it'd be like me writing a song like,
I want more cats.
Yeah, I want more cats. And then because I wrote that song, I want more cats, I made lots of money and got a bunch more cats. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess, would be the way to talk about that. I think that was really cool. For how much I've always loved this song, I loved this song when I was a kid, still love this song now. For as much as I do, I never dug deeper into their catalog. And boy, oh boy, was I surprised to find out how sensual Calloway is.
Just a bit, yeah.
I was not expecting that. And Matt, I gave Matt a heads up beforehand. I'm like, you're going to have to put a clip in to the episode because Calloway has a song called Let's Get Smooth. And Let's Get Smooth is the funniest possible song that I could imagine putting on when you invite a date back to your place for a nightcap. I can't imagine walking in the door and hitting play on this song.
Oh yeah, it's time to get smooth.
I mean, with lyrics like, this night is for pleasure, come on girl, I'll take you home and keep you warm, I can't imagine what someone would think if you walked in the door and put this song on. It is so sexy and sensual and completely written for the scenario of bringing a date back and wanting to make love.
The perfect scenario is if you're on the houseboat owned by Leon Phelps, the ladies' man.
Yes, sure.
It is so not even remotely subtle in the intentions of the song.
No, I did not expect Calloway to be this damn sexy. They also have another song called I Desire You, which is even just as much works in that way. I was just not expecting this. I was expecting upbeat party songs about wanting things that you don't have, which, okay, I guess this fits in that category of wanting things you don't have at that moment. But I wasn't expecting them to be so sexual. And frankly, I was impressed.
Yeah, I'm glad that this was introduced into my life. That's for damn sure. So let me, obviously, the first time I heard this song was today because you had picked it for us to talk about. Well, the Patreon voted on it, but you had thrown it up as an option. What was your first experience hearing this song? Was this something you found on MTV, the radio?
Definitely MTV. Definitely loved it from MTV. Definitely, I would say there's a good chance I had the cassette single of this song. Right. But it's just feel good. The instrumentation of it, the bell sounding synth, the dun 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 dun, just makes you feel good. Oh, yeah. It's just those smooth vocals. I'm sure at the time I wanted to be rich. I wonder what being rich to me at that time was like. What I probably would have wanted a lot of baseball and hockey cards at the time and a lot of video games, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm trying. Let's see. Well, I can't imagine 1990 what I want it to be rich. But if you're saying that you were maybe like 10-ish, like we'll go in that like 10-year-old range. I feel like my version of being rich at 10 years old was never having to go to work because I saw how miserable it made my parents. So I just get to hang out and watch cartoons all day long, and probably a lot of comic books, a lot of Big Slam Pepsi. If you remember those like borderline 1 liter bottles of soda that they just freely sold children in the 90s.
Right.
Probably you said baseball cards. I would have been like all of the Marvel or movie tie-in trading cards, like when they would do like Dick Tracy trading cards.
Oh, yeah.
And every Star Wars toy. I would be trying to get all the Star Wars and Ninja Turtles toys that I could get my hands on. And I think a lot of like, again, like very 90s centric junk foods, like 3D Doritos was my jam when I was 10. So probably like a lifetime supply of 3D Doritos would have been something I wanted if I was rich.
Right. I think every kid, for one reason or another, wants a mansion. Yes. I don't know where that comes from, but my mansion would probably have an ice rink in it. I was obsessed with hockey, and I'd imagine there would also be a part where you could like ride dirt bikes off of jumps.
Well, that was like we're talking about. I mean, this is a couple years removed from this song, but like for me, when I was 9, was the prime time of when both Blank Check and Richie Rich dropped, which are like prime examples of what a elementary school kid imagines having a lot of money being, which is just like you said, a mansion filled with everything a kid could like basically like the Foot Clan's lair in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, where it's just like arcade, skateboard ramps. Like,
I think that maybe it was sort of like a more elaborate version of Pee-wee's Playhouse is what I would imagine having.
Yes, very much so. God, Pee-wee's Playhouse was dope. I still, if you gave me the option and it's like, look, for 1 year you can live in Pee-wee's Playhouse, I would take it. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think I probably would too. Pee-wee's Playhouse was the dream house. and just to be able to leave your house and launch off that ramp onto that on what was I'm trying to remember. Was Pee-wee? I mean, I know in Pee-wee's Big Adventure he rode a bike, but from
it was
his
usually
house,
like a scooter or something.
Yeah, it was a scooter. Right. Yeah, that was sick, man. All those, everything in the house Flory was talking. The Cherry, Randy would drop by and be
asshole.
A little dickhead. Randy had to come in and be a dick for a while, which is fine. Terry being a little sweet pterodactyl.
You had a sweet little jazz band hanging out over your fireplace sometimes.
Jombie stopping by. What did Jombie stop by and like give you a wish?
Yeah, you got a wish every day.
Holy shit.
Wish a day.
Yeah, if I was a kid and I was rich, there'd be a penny cartoon every day. But honestly, if you had a Jombie, you don't even really need to be rich. All you need is a Jombie, right?
Yeah, that's wish number 1.
Yeah, I want to be rich, Jombie. Mecca lecca hi, Mecca hiney ho, Chris. Also, Matt, keep in mind that I don't know what years Pee-wee's Playhouse ran exactly, but I do believe that it was probably on in 1990 when this song was a hit. Like these two things existed together, which is pretty awesome.
There was overlap. I feel like that show started in 89, so there was definitely overlap.
Okay.
Perfect. I mean, that's crazy, but it's kind of it's kind of weird. There was for like a group of two brothers who like had their hands in so many different projects, between this funk band and then this like duo that they did that had this big hit, and then like doing all this production work. I don't know about your research, but there was not a lot of information out there about what's going on in the worlds of Vincent and Reginald.
Yeah, I just know that they are easily my favorite R&B duo from Cincinnati ever.
Well, there you go.
I do know that I'm adding a Pee-wee's Playhouse to my what I want if I ever get rich. which I just made me have to get a lot richer than a pair of expensive sweatpants and a couple more cats. And I love this song, man. I think this is a great song.
I think that we're going to take this episode and you and I are going to sit down and rewrite Bare Naked Ladies If I Had $1 Million to just have all of the things that we put on our list of if we were rich.
Yeah.
I'd buy you some cats.
Yeah, I would do a lot of stuff for cats if I was super rich. I cannot wait to try putting on the Calloway song "Let's Get Smooth" in my next romantic situation, and see.
I call your girlfriend over tonight and see how it goes.
I cannot wait to see how she reacts when I put this song on.
And you know what? I'm throwing this out there right now. Hey, Patreon, first of all, thank you. You voted for this one. I think the Patreon bonus episode for this needs to be songs that we would play if we were having a lady guest over.
Oh, okay. Our favorite songs of seduction.
Yeah, songs of seduction.
Songs that I know everyone wants to know. Chris Fafalius and Matt Kelly's songs of seduction. They can't wait to get our Apple Music playlist. Chris and Matt's songs of seduction playlist. We'll get that together for you.
But yeah, so Chris, I enjoyed this song. I didn't love it. Like I said, Candy Rain was definitely, that was something special. That was something that really hit me when I heard that bad boy. So I'm curious. I think it's obvious, right? You're giving this the thunder, right?
Yeah. This is thunderous. This is pure lightning, as I'm sure that 99% of the listeners right now are going to agree. This is absolute thunder. I don't even care about the rest of their catalog. I was delighted to find out that the rest of their catalog is very sensual and very great for lovemaking, but it doesn't even matter. This song is so important in it's one of those songs that has played in my head since I was a kid. It's an amazing song, and I know I give a lot of artists a hard time about not following up their hit, not putting out another album. Doesn't even matter to me with this one. This is an absolute jam.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm not gonna give it the boisterous it's the skies have gotten black because there's so much thunder coming down.
You're a dick.
But I'm not gonna give it a blunder. It's a good ass song. I actually am way more interested in checking out this Midnight Star side project that or original project, because that seems like that's right up my alley. No parking on the dance floor. Are you kidding me? That's the name of an album. That's a great fucking album title.
And it's an important lesson to follow as well.
Yeah, don't go out on the dance floor and then not move. If you're going out there, you're shaking your ass. That's what's about to happen.
That's true.
I'm gonna take you to Nakama. Our love's in blue just like Nirvana. Then we'll do 80s karaoke. I'm Phil Collins, you're Madonna.
This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Fafalius of the bands Punchline, Pack, and Another Cheetah, and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me, you're hearing Everything I Wanted off the Punchline EP So Nice to Meet You. Visit punchline.com for merch, tour dates, and upcoming news. Do you want to start a podcast? Contact Chris and myself at weknowpodcasting.com for how we can make your show sound as professional as possible. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app, and tune in next week for another episode of One Hit Thunder.
Your shoulder tattoo was the first on yours. Everything I wanted.
Hey, One Hit Thunder host Chris Fafalius here. You may have heard me talk about my band Punchline before. Maybe you already know us, or maybe you're hearing about us for the first time right now. It doesn't matter. No matter what your relationship with Punchline is, I will absolutely guarantee that you'll love our new podcast, A Band Called Punchline. Starting with our humble beginnings in a small town in southwestern Pennsylvania in 1997, we're telling the hilarious, strange, and hopefully inspiring story of the 25-plus years of our band in the most honest way possible, podcast style. A Band Called Punchline is an audio documentary available now wherever you get your pods, so subscribe and let me and my friends share a wild, entertaining, unique, and wonderful tale of music and perseverance unlike any other that's still being written today.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Hey there, I am Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, and I've got a podcast called Drinks with Johnny you're going to want to check out. I sit down with a bunch of different people from all different walks of life, from professional wrestlers to actors, comedians, fighters, musicians, everything in between. I'm just looking to make some friends and have a good time doing it. So if that sounds like something you're into, go check out Drinks with Johnny, streaming everywhere now.
Hi, this is Krista Makes, host of Krista Makes a Podcast. The theme of the podcast is songwriting. Each week, my musical guest picks a defining song from their career to discuss, critique, and analyze during the show. So please join me for some fun and insight into some of the greatest songs ever written and recorded. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.